my honor to welcome you to Burger Forum here at the Stephen A. Schwartzman Building for a very special poetry event. Some youth in New York City, on uncultured adults, took pity. They wrote out a poem to throw those heathens a bone. Their work is much, much more witty. It's been the library's honor to work with Teachers and Writers Collaborative to offer poetry workshops in the branches of the library this spring and summer, and we're thrilled to have you all here today to see some of what the youth in poetry workshops across the city have accomplished. The New York Public Library hosts a variety of programs, and we hope that you'll check them out online at nypl.org. You can also check out our Teen Live and Kids Live programming online at nypl.org/kidslive. If you love everything you hear today, we invite you to purchase a book. We have a representative from the library store over handling all of our sales. And without further ado, I'd like to bring up Amy from Teachers and Writers Collaborative. We'll talk a little bit more about the project. Thank you all so much for coming today.
Thank you, Chris, and I liked your poem. Are there any other poets here this afternoon? Yeah, there's some over there. There are going to be a lot of poets in this room by the time we're done today. As Chris said, my name is Amy. I'm from Teachers and Writers Collaborative. We are a nonprofit organization here in New York City that has been providing creative writing programs in schools, public libraries, and other community sites across all 5 boroughs for the last 45 years. There's a bit of information about our organization on that back table over there that we invite you to pick up before you leave this afternoon. We're here to celebrate a remarkable book called A Poem as Big as New York City that was written by a remarkable bunch of children and teens from schools and libraries and museums and all kinds of youth service agencies across the city. We asked them to imagine that a poem character was moving around New York City. What would that poem see and experience? How would it feel about its trip through the city? And the results of that are this wonderful book, A Poem as Big as New York City. The illustrations were done by Masha Dyens, and the adaptation of the poem was done by Melanie Maria Goodreaux, who is here this afternoon and who will be leading our young poets and a couple of older poets in a performance of the poem. So thank you all for coming. Please turn off your cell phones if you have a cell phone. And with that, Melanie and crew will put on a show.
Okay, thank you everyone for being here. Can I hear you say New York City?
New York City.
Can I hear you say Hong Kong?
Hong Kong.
Beep beep.
Beep beep.
Can I hear you say I love New York?
I love New York.
Okay, I would like you guys to give some applause to our young poets that are representing thousands of kids that wrote this poem. I want you guys to welcome to our reading Kimberly Couchy, Jane LeCroy, Amanda Long, Matthew Burgess, and Miss Adolph and I'm Melanie Maria Goodreaux. So thank you for being here. We're going to read you a poem as big as New York City.
Get your newspapers. Get your newspapers. Get your newspapers. When I look at the New York sky, I see little pencils fly. Flying, flying through the sky.
Writing words way up high. Writing a poem of many hues. Reds.
Oranges. Greens.
Blues.
How did it get up there so high? Was it written by a butterfly?
Or was it a giant skipping across the New York sky, bending over the clouds to write? Thinking a million things you can think.
In shining sunset purple ink.
Most see only a concrete paradise.
Rough blocks.
The scent of gasoline and sugared nuts.
Buildings building up, lives flying by, planes overhead, sirens,
Wailing.
car horns,
Blaring.
But there is a poem.
Growing from the core of this big apple.
A poem as big as the millions of people tuning in to watch the ball drop when all time stops at Times Square on New Year's Eve.
A poem as big as the Manhattan skyline viewed from the farthest ends of Brooklyn.
A poem as big as the city.
Higher than hundreds of yellow cabs on 42nd Street.
Bigger than the millions of cheese slices of New York City pizzas going into hot 500-degree oven.
A poem as big as 60,000 screaming fans at a game at Yankee Stadium.
The roar of the crowd fills the neighborhood.
Go
Yankees!
And wakes up angry neighbors in the Bronx. In the Bronx, a sister to me.
Where I'm from, there's a poem that jumps inside a yellow cab.
Zoom, whoosh, all around New York City. On top of the taxi is a flashing message for all to see. People of the city dream big.
Dream big.
Dream bigger than a poem.
Dream bigger than a poem.
That splats itself in bubble gum across the trains and break dances to the pitter-patter of drums and the bongo beats below coming from the subway. The subway sounds like a stampede of rhinos and elephants underground.
The subway snake dreams inside the tunnels.
Dark, dark.
The subway slithers along bumpy metallic tracks.
Sparks.
When the subway stops at the station, it screams with hunger.
Screech!
The subway snake has bolts and nails as sharp as a wasp's stinger.
It eats up all the people, all the rats.
It doesn't chew them. It just swallows them whole, then spits them out at another station. The subway snake jerks to a stop, falls fast asleep.
Dreams.
There is a poem that wakes up to see the sun glistening off the Hudson River. A poem that sees sailboats and words gliding through the waves, mirroring city lights, making the sunset shimmer.
Oh, Hudson River, I've known rivers too. I am a river, destined to be taken away to a deep, deep ocean. I'll always flow, don't you know? I am a poem as big as a city.
Hey, Statue of Liberty. Was it just me, or was it you and the A train as big as a tube? Now I can see your tablet is really a Metro card.
Oh, statue, don't you get tired, looking into their eyes, foreseeing the crowds, the never-ending waves, watching the city changing like a kaleidoscope from day to day, never the same.
And so much depends upon watching New York minutes trickle like pickles.
A flock of seagulls comes down and offers the poem a ride.
They fly above the Verrazano Bridge, above the blue water of New York Harbor.
The poem smells the salty seas of Staten Island. The poem rides the ferry and hears the waves whoosh, whoosh.
Whoosh, whoosh.
The birds tweet, tweet, and tweet.
Tweet, tweet, and tweet.
And the ferry honk, honk.
Honk, honk.
The waves splash and the lights flash all the way to South Beach, where I am scared of the jellyfish, where I hear dogs bark and seagulls calling their mates.
The poem went to the aquarium and got caught in an octopus's mouth and swam with the sea lion.
The poem walked by the East River and reached up to touch a pink and white striped sky. It passed by the Chrysler Building, and it looked like a wealthy woman who just couldn't hide her jewels.
The poem bungee jumps out onto a cloud and over the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge bends down like a person doing yoga, stretching across the East River, generously sharing its gigantic back with everyone. Its big cables gracefully coming down like 4 massive harps for a giant to play.
You ever been to Brooklyn?
Don't hesitate,
Come to Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is a place to be, and you know I'm right. From Spanish to Asian to black and white.
So much diversity. This is who we are. Manhattan may be the center, but Brooklyn is the star.
Let's go to the park. To Plaza Park we go to hear the young people saying,
Hey, what up, yo?
On Coney Island, there's a Ferris wheel that goes up, 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 and away. How many rides can we go on today? Cyclone, cyclone, oh, hold on tight. The poem as big as the city turns into a moon, shaped like an elephant's big white tusk, and it moves in a New York night as busy as the jungle. The poem shivers like a crushed beetle in Prospect Park and curls up into the sky like a pig's pink tail, and then the poem glitters, the road like falling snow. Then down, then down, then down, then down, fell.
The snow very softly. The snow looked like pearls falling from the sky, landing on the rooftops of houses in Queens.
How snowy you are today, Elmhurst, with all the noisy kids playing on the streets, looking like a white blanket, snowballs flying. You look like a bride about to be married.
How sweet you are today, Astoria. The beautiful aroma of the scented pine trees. The guys are selling on this corner. I love your snow, your sweet snow.
How calm you are today, College Point. With the crack of dawn, nothing can be heard. All the kids are still dreaming their last dreams of the day.
How cool you are today, New York, with all the
Action of Manhattan.
Your colorful wave of faces, a place of change where everyone came. New York, you are a bustling, loud, never-resting place.
A house of mirrors, a mastermind,
a supermodel on the runway.
a beehive, a rocket,
a poem.
a city.
I am the city in many different ways. I am the city on its busiest days.
I am not powerful or loud, breathtaking or proud. I come from 99-cent stores, beauty parlors, and nail salons.
I come from the smell of sea salt and the curve of carousel horsehair.
I come from honey dripping off baklava, rare steak au poivre, with potatoes au gratin, arroz con pollo with black beans, Belgian fries, bagels, shrimp lo mein, and seared salmon with soy sauce.
I come from mango with salami and beans with sweets.
I come from a falafel.
I come from dark Atlantic waves and silent echoes.
I come from break dancing in Inwood in the wind.
I come from are you Dominican, Mexican, Puerto Rican, or New Rican? I come from what you gotta do is take the A train.
I am from crowded streets full of figures with thoughts that aren't said out loud.
I am from everywhere and anywhere I call home.
And then, wepa, wepa, honk, sprut, sprut, vroom. Please stand clear of the
Boom, boom, boom.
A gigantic microphone descends from the sky. Now everyone can hear the little pencils that fly. The pigeon wings
Flapping.
Hands on Broadway
Clapping.
A stray cat
Napping.
truck horn sounding like music. The bomb in the street singing.
Cellular phones ringing,
A symphony playing,
an opera of car alarms,
shouting people.
Shrieking subways.
blaring music.
Sound, 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 sound.
23rd Street, next stop, 34th Street, 42nd Street.
Uptown,
Downtown,
or Chinatown.
I'm jumping inside a streetlight to find the soul of New York City.
Rap zap, that's what I hear. Bark, bark, honk, honk.
I jumped inside a parking meter and heard the soul of New York City crunching like quarter.
Rap zap, bark, bark, honk, honk.
Click clonk, my high heels clink as I walk down the street with
So,
I jumped inside a boombox on Broadway and heard the rhyming, repetitive, rowdy voice of rap. The drums imitating citygoers' footsteps with a pitter-pat.
The music sounding, ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. My ears pounding.
I ran into Carnegie Hall to hear a piano playing traditional music, classic, like cheesecake.
Is this the soul of New York City?
From there I flew to a dance club with disco balls swirling to rock and roll, shoes tapping, heels clapping, dancing, giving New York all their heart and soul.
I jumped inside the subway searching for soul, taking the people to and fro, here and there, go, go,
Go.
The A, B, C, and
D.
The E, F, Q, and
G.
The 4, 5, 6, the 1, 2,
3.
The doors, ding dong, ding dong.
Ding dong, ding dong.
The car, zip, zip, zips.
Zip, zip, zips.
The complaint of the turnstiles.
The complaint of the turnstiles.
The flip, flip, flop of the newspapers.
The flip, flip, flop of the newspapers.
The do, do, do of the loud music cracking through headphones. Ding dong,
Ding dong.
Zip, zip, zip.
Zip, zip, zip.
Ka-clank.
Ka-clank.
Flip, flop, flip.
Flip, flop, flip.
Honk.
Honk.
Ba-doom.
Ba-doom.
Da-ding.
Da-ding.
Stand clear of the closing.
Stand clear.
The closing.
All the sounds and soul combining into my brain.
The soul of the poem, the sound of the rain.
The soul of a poem as big as the city.
A soul as loud as millions of voices coming into one.
A poem written to make people laugh and have
Fun.
A poem that whispers.
English.
Italian, French,
Spanish, Arabic, Russian,
Chinese, Japanese,
And
Punjabi.
A poem that sounds like you and me.
You and me.
A poem
As big as the city.
That's it.
Well, thanks for reading that poem with us. We just followed the poem around New York City. It's a place that you've traveled around. You know New York City. It's a city that everyone in the world knows, really. And you get to have a personal experience with it living here through hanging out at the New York Public Library. Now, what we're going to do is a little writing activity. We followed the poem all over the city. Think of your own adventures in New York City. I want you to just think of your favorite places to visit. Public places, places where other people could be with you, places that other people might know. Just think of those places. And I want you to choose a favorite one. I want to give you like a few minutes. Think of different parks you love to go to, different museums you love to go to, different neighborhoods that you really enjoy. Places like if you had a friend who had never been to New York City, where would you want to take them? When they got here, what would be the top 3 places you would want to take them? There's like totally famous places like Radio City Music Hall or Central Park, but then there's your private favorite places that other people might necessarily like not have in their mind to show somebody, you know? So think of those places, think of those places. I'm just gonna give you like a couple minutes to just get, paper's gonna come around in pens, and I want you to get a place in your mind, a place that you know really well, a place you would love